Alright guys, apologies for being a few hours late. These balance changes just came out of nowhere. I didn't see any announcement beforehand of when these work in progress balance changes were going to be announced, but there's going to be 9 cards coming in the work in progress balance changes for June. As always, because these aren't finalized, be sure to leave your feedback in the comments below on this video and on social media platforms where there's a good chance they'll see it and make some adjustments. Alright guys, so the first change that is happening is the highly requested Boss Bandit nerf. She's getting a 3% hit points nerf, going from 2,803 to 2,721. A very small nerf. I think this is pretty deserved, especially because of the guards nerf, and that helped make her even a little bit better. And of course, because, spoiler alert, this is probably pretty obvious, the Evolve Witch was going to get a nerf. But because the Evolve Witch is getting a nerf, and I'll mention what that nerf is in just a minute, that also would have helped her out even more if she didn't get a nerf herself. So I think a 3% health nerf is very, very fair. Next up is a lightning nerf. Man, this is a big nerf to the lightning. It is getting its tower damage reduced by a whopping 17%, going from 318 to 265. In my opinion, this might be a little bit overkill, but at the same time, I can understand why they're giving a nerf to the lightning because it has been very popular recently, these last few months. But in this last meta specifically, a big part of it was to take out the Evo Witch, so it was essentially a requirement, especially inside of heavier decks, but they felt like it was a little bit too strong, so they decided to give it this nerf. Maybe they need to tone it down a little bit, maybe more to like 12 or 10%, but let me know how you guys feel about this one. The Evolved Ice Spirit is also getting a really large nerf. This one surprises me how big of a nerf this is actually getting. The Ice Blast damage is being decreased by 33%. Now that it only has 2 freezes instead of 3, I feel like with this really big damage nerf of 33%, something tells me this is going to absolutely kill the evolution. 33% is way too much, in my opinion. Maybe they could have given it a 10% nerf, and that would have been sufficient, I feel like, but it's going all the way from 163 to 110. I do think it was the second strongest evolution in the game behind the Evo Witch, but I just think it's a tad bit overkill, in my eyes at least. And then next up is that Evolved Witch nerf that I already basically spoiled us. You know, spoiler alert, yeah, it's getting a nerf. I mean, it's pretty obvious who's going to get one. So the heal per skeleton being reduced by 12%. It's going to be going from 73 to 64. I feel like this is going to make her worse, but she's still going to be a pretty good evolution. That's my prediction, because now she's going to be a bit more manageable to deal with. There's a lot of interactions that are going to be different where she's going to die where otherwise she would have survived. But at the same time, she does have that heal aspect, and it's just really hard to predict what's going to happen, because if you remember the Evo P.E.K.K.A., that's just, it seems like these healing cards, like the Evo P.E.K.K.A., Evo Witch, they're really challenging to balance sometimes. So I honestly have no clue how she's going to be after this. Maybe she'll be an average evolution, but I don't think she'll be dead. That's for sure. She definitely deserved a nerf, though. The Cannon Cart, guys, is getting a buff. I know Cannon Cart players are going to be very excited about this one. They're buffing the hit points by 5% because they realized after that rework pretty much got absolutely killed. So they want to give some of its health back. 5% health buff, going from 1730 to 1809. I think this is actually definitely going to help the card out quite a lot. We definitely could see a return of Cannon Cart, especially inside of Mortar decks, because 5% is pretty significant. I mean, that definitely changes a lot of interactions. Survives probably another tower shot, and then there's a lot of troops that will need a little bit more to take it out now as well. And we got the Goblin Demolisher, which is getting a buff as well. I feel like this is a pretty deserved buff. It's been one of the worst cards for a very long time now, ever since they gave it that really big nerf. I believe they hit it with a triple nerf. They nerfed 3 things about it just because it was so broken. But the lifetime after 50%, it's getting a 25% health increase. So from my understanding is when it starts running, after it reaches that 50% mark, it has 25% more health at that point. So there's a much higher chance it's going to be able to reach the tower now or other things and actually explode. So before it was 8 seconds, and now it's 10 seconds. So I guess what it is the time is getting increased, but that also means technically the hit points total gets increased as well. I'm not entirely understanding if it just means the total time gets brought up, or if it actually is getting a hit points buff added onto it too. So I can't tell if it's a double buff, like it's the time and the hit points, or it's just the time, but it's like that also technically you could make the argument that means the hit points go up too. I don't know for sure, but bottom line is that's a very big buff to the Goblin Demolisher. And then we got the Little Prince guys getting a 3% damage buff. 3% I don't believe changes a ton of interactions, but this is definitely going to be most noticeable, especially when it's charging up. When it starts shooting faster, when he's in that final phase where he's rapid firing, think of that 3% every single time. That's actually going to be more noticeable than you'd expect and change a couple interactions, especially if you get him to lock on a tower or something that has a lot of hit points. So it's going from 99 to 102. Definitely not going to make him OP. I think these are the type of buffs I actually really like because it helps make sure the card is still fairly balanced, but it just adds a little bit more life to the card, especially considering I would say he's the worst champion in the game right now ever since the Golden Knight got that big buff. So I think this is very deserved to help him be a little bit more on par with the other champions. The Rune Giant is going to be getting a 6% health buff. Very deserved in my opinion. She got that nerf where she doesn't permanently enhance things, and then she got slapped with I believe it was an 8% health nerf, and I think that was just way too much. So they decided, you know what, let's give her some of the health back, 6% more health, 2,508 to 2,662. She's definitely not going to be good after this, but hey, maybe she'll be all right in one deck. Maybe there'll be a beatdown deck that runs her again. So it could help a tiny bit, but I don't expect much to come out of this. Maybe she'll actually be used with the Berserker. Ever since the Berserker got that buff, she's been played a decent bit now, so maybe you'll actually see them together. But time will tell. And then lastly, guys, the Evolve Wizard is getting a Shield Explosion damage buff of 22%, going from 230 to 281. I think the Evolve Wizard was one of the worst evolutions in the game for a while now, so I think this is pretty deserved. This is a very big buff, though, 22%. Think about when you use it defensively and there's like a bunch of units together. You could just play it in the middle now, and it's kind of like the Evolved Wall Breakers, where that's what people started doing ever since they buffed their damage. I could see that being the same thing now, especially because you're getting that knockback as well. So it's like it explodes, it's dealing all that damage and then knocking the stuff back. So going to be very effective, especially against things like barbarians or anything along those lines. Like maybe there's a big push coming in, like someone has a tank and then maybe like minions or something, or like a mega minion, you play it and it's like damaging both, getting a ton of value. So definitely going to be a lot better now for sure. It might even be an average evolution after this. So I like these balance changes overall. I would say, in my opinion, the one card maybe that could have been included is the Goblin Hut. I think maybe it could have used a very small health nerf ever since they did the rework and made it 4 elixir. As you guys can see, 39 people running the Goblin Hut inside of the top 200. It's by far the best building in the game in a lot of different decks, especially Graveyard and Minor decks, but you can see also E-Giant. So I definitely think it needs to be on the radar for them to potentially include in the finalized balance changes. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. If you guys are not subscribed already, you can use creator code BOSS to support me in any Supercell game. Let me know what you guys think about the balance changes in the comments below, and thanks again until next time, guys.